All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Shoot the Gap, episode 127, I think, or maybe 128. The Rabbit Hole Fantasy Football Show. And you know what? It's a little different today, because it's just the gut. That's right. Y'all have been used to be seeing these videos with just Brian the Amigo Baldwin, or Brian the Weatherman, as I'm campaigning him to be called this season, because he's so good at looking at the weather. But Brian the Amigo Baldwin is going to be out of town playing a gig with Barack, I believe. So you know what? It's just going to be me today. It's just going to be the gut. And we have a great show planned for you guys. Like and subscribe to the channel. Ma'am, I watched last night's game, and when I say that the game was boring, that is an understatement. Thursday Night Football is a scam. They have scammed Jeff Bezos out of his allowance money for the week, $1 billion, and they have given him absolute dog shit. They have taken oregano, they have put it in a bag, they have told him it is the same stuff that they smoked on Pineapple Express, and they have charged him $300 a gram for it. I mean, gosh, golly, these fucking Thursday night football games, bro. Fucking Commanders and Bears. And the Commanders shouldn't have even won. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to be talking a little bit about the news. Now, I am not as in touch with the fantasy football world as Brian is. I do not pride myself on researching players who aren't important or who have yet to become important. I don't even research all the players who are important. What I do is I win championships. Because I like good tight ends. Because tight ends are a part of fantasy, and you can never take that away. Well, you can, but it might ruin the league. Anyways, guys, Jonathan Taylor. I think that's probably the biggest news of the week. Jonathan Taylor is practicing. He's expected to play. And look, I'm just going to get into it. I think you should start him. I think you're stupid if you don't start him. And you shouldn't come crying for help if you don't start him and then he gets you 50 points on your bench. You should feel ashamed. He's the J-Train, all right? I came up with that nickname. No other fantasy show. This is Shoot the Gap, the gut, 2-time championship. And the J-Train should be in your starting lineup. Now, as far as Merry Early Christmas goes, we have some segments that we do. We have Merry Early Christmas. We talk about the news. Just to get into it a little bit, Harrison Butker is supposed to play, so Merry Early Christmas. People that have shitty kickers and have been waiting for Harrison Butker to come back. That's kind of it. I don't really do that segment, so we're going to keep this episode short and sweet. All right, I'm going to let you guys know who I think you should start, who I think you should sit. And I'm also going to tell you guys the over and the under for all these games. So let's get into it. Now, I think, there we go. All righty. Now, I'm going to use my announcer voice for this, but first, before I get into that, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
High Volume Music Radio, the pride of Sunnyside, with shows like Rock and Roll Radio, Bring Back the A-Track, The Brown Sugar Express, and Blame It on the Boogie with Aunt Boogie. Log in now at highvolumeradio.com. And remember, if it ain't high volume, it ain't loud enough.
Now back to Shoot the Gap with your host,
The Gut, because Brian is not here today. I love that commercial. The commish, Barack, actually made that for us, and I can tell that he did a little editing after it was done. That little, if it ain't high volume, it ain't loud enough! That's definitely Brock. That has Brock written all over it. All right, so let's get into it. We have some games coming up. And first off, we have the San Francisco 49ers and the Atlanta Falcons. It's a 44.5 over-under game with the Niners as 5-point favorites. Now, the Niners are having a lot of woes at the running back position right now. And I'm going to be honest. They're a team that you can stream whoever the starting running back currently is. That changes every couple of weeks. But you can stream them, and you can receive moderate to moderately good success streaming the position. Especially if you're trying to go flex, or even an RB2 in a league where people are hoarding running backs. Now, with that being said, I think the number one running back for the San Francisco 49ers is still going to be Deebo Samuel. I think Deebo Samuel, you're obviously shooting on him. Let's be honest, you're starting and sitting him. I'm sorry, you're setting and forgetting Deebo Samuel. All right, if you're not starting Deebo Samuel, then either you have an amazing team with amazing depth and you can afford to do that, or you're smoking crack. So I would start Deebo Samuel. I would shoot on him. I would shoot on George Kittle. And I would shoot on the Niners defense. I'm not going to shoot on Jimmy G for fantasy. I'm not looking his way. I would try to find access. I'm going to be honest. I don't keep up with the 49ers running back situation because I don't have... I think Jeff Samuel Jr. was the main guy kind of the last few weeks. But, they're all injury prone, man. So, pick your poison. As far as the Falcons go, Patterson's still on the IR. Obviously, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, you're kind of starting them regardless of what's going on. You should be at least. You should be starting Kyle Pitts at tight end. And you should be starting Drake London. You should find a way to start him in your lineups if you have him. I'm not going to start the Falcons running backs, even though there is some opportunity there, because the Niners have a great defense. And I'm not starting the Falcons quarterback for that same reason. But I am starting Younghoe Koo. I do have him in both of my leagues this year, and I am starting him. I think that he'll have some quality looks, maybe at least one 50-yard field goal, which would be fucking awesome. We're going to take the under in this game, and we're going to take the Niners. So let me get my handy-dandy notebook. Shout out to Blue's Clues. Who the fuck watched Blue Clues growing up? Shout out, like and subscribe, leave a comment. We're going to take the Niners, and we're going to take the under. All right. Moving right along, we have the New England Patriots and the Cleveland Browns. Now, this is a boring game. Okay, I'm not excited about this game. And I don't think you should be either. There's very few people that we're going to start for fantasy football. The obvious, if there's one player in this game who you have to start for fantasy, we all know who it is. And that's Nick Chubb. If you're even considering sitting Nick Chubb, dude, I want what you're on right now. I want what you're smoking. Because that shit must be good if you're doing dumb shit like that. Start Nick Chubb. Start Njoku. I feel like if you have Njoku, you most likely don't have a better option at tight end. And honestly, he's not even that bad of a flex play in deeper leagues. My boy Alec, shout out to Alec. He's starting him in the flex in a 14-team super flex league. So there's definitely use for him. Amari Cooper, start him as well. I'm not starting Brissett. I'm not starting any of the wide receivers besides Amari Cooper. And I'm not going to start the Browns defense or the Browns kicker. As far as the Patriots go, they're kind of a dumpster fire. I'll start Stevenson, the running back from the Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson. I'll start him. That's about it, honestly, man. Not super interested in the kicker, not super interested in the defense. This should be an ugly game. The Browns are 2.5-point favorites, and let it be known, Belichick was a coach for the Browns before the Patriots. We're going to take the under this game. Can't believe I'm saying this, but we're taking the Browns. Talent. I think the talent will win them over. All right. Now, this is exciting. We don't get this every week, but we have The Green Gang matchup. Two green teams playing against each other. Two different iterations of the color green playing against each other. We have the New York Jets at the Green Bay Packers. Now, this game is kind of interesting. But it's not the most interesting game of the week. We have you have 3 and 2 teams, both of them Jets, Packers. It's a 45-point over/under with the Packers as 7.5-point favorites. Don't really feel surprised by that. And I mean, what's crazy is I actually think there's more players on the Jets. Okay, that's a lie. Neither team has very many players I'm interested in. I think that you should be starting Breece Hall for the Jets. I think that you can look Zach Wilson's way if you're down bad and you really need a quarterback. It's weird, though, because I haven't really gotten a good read on the wide receivers. I don't feel like there's a super pronounced wide receiver 1 on the team yet. So, honestly, I'm kind of just going with Breece Hall. I'm not interested in anybody else. I'm not interested in the Jets version of Zerline. I'm not interested in the New York Jets defense. I'm not interested in the tight end. I know Brian played them last week and he took a shit on his team. Got him like 0.1 points. So, yeah, 10th of a point. No, thank you. I will stick with Mark Andrews because I was smart and invested in a good tight end and paid up for it. So, for the Packers, I'm probably starting Rodgers, Aaron Jones, I guess Lazard if he's healthy. Let's see, is Lazard healthy? This is what Brian's here for. Let's see, injuries. He's not on the injury report. So there we go. We're gonna start him, and we're gonna take the over. We're gonna take the. God, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think we're gonna take the over, and we're gonna take. Oh God. I know we're taking the Packers, but I don't know if we should take the over or the under. I'm going to be conservative this week, and I'm going to take the under. All right, AFC South. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I once again think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win this game. It's a 42-point game. Over under. The Colts are 2-point favorites, and I am taking Jacksonville, and I'm taking the over because Jacksonville has been in some high-scoring games this year. The Colts have gotten 20 points before, and I think that's doable. I think it's kind of obvious who you're starting. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman. I don't think you're starting the Colts kicker, Matt Ryan, or the Colts defense for obvious reasons. No, I'm not interested in the other fantasy options that the Colts have, besides the ones that I already named. The Jacksonville Jaguars, probably I'm gonna... Trevor Lawrence, begrudgingly Trevor Lawrence, begrudgingly James Robinson, and begrudgingly Christian Kirk, but they all are begrudgingly getting shot on, kind of 75% of a full load, if you will. With that being said, I'm not starting the Jacksonville defense or the Jacksonville kicker. We are taking Jacksonville, and we are taking the over. We are going against Vegas. And, this is the first game that I've gone against Vegas. Vegas has agreed with me on my last 3 calls as well. Moving on, the Minnesota Vikings at the Miami Dolphins. Can't believe the Vikings are 4-1. It's a 45.5 over/under with the Vikings as 3-point favorites. And Miami, they were undefeated, and then they had to go around and be terrible human beings and start to even when he did have a brain injury. Okay, speculation. He had a brain injury, and the Dolphins kept him playing anyway. They probably paid someone off. Just kidding. I don't know what they did, but they did something bad, and they should be punished for it. Now, the Dolphins are falling apart as a result, which they probably deserve, and the Vikings, for some reason, are 4-1. I think someone forgot to tell them that they're not a good team. So, I mean, obviously we're shooting on Justin Jefferson, we're shooting on Tyreek Hill. Those two star wide receivers are locked and loaded, and if you're not starting them, you have a problem. Besides that, I mean, it doesn't really seem like there's a whole bunch of issues. If I understand correctly, Dalvin Cook is healthy now. So is Waddle. So I would be starting those players as well. Miami Dolphins running backs, they all seem to kind of suck right now. So I'm not going to really shoot on any of them. And no, Brian, I'm not going to shoot on Irv Smith for the Vikings. So I think that about covers all of those players. I'm not shooting on the Dolphins' backup quarterback. And I'm not shooting on either. I'll shoot on the Vikings defense in this one because the Dolphins are falling apart. Not shooting on either kicker, though. We are going to take the under, and we're taking Minnesota. We're taking Minnesota, and we're taking the under. All right, moving right along. The Cincinnati Bengals and the New Orleans Saints. Now, this is an interesting game because, both of these teams are scrappy. Saints, they got a good defense. Bengals, they got a good defense, an underrated defense at that. And they have a great offense. Now, if there's one player that obviously you have to start in this game, we all know who it is, and that's Jamar Chase. If you don't start him, you're stupid. But there's a lot of other Bengals players I think are starts in this game. I would say that we need to start Joe Mixon. I would say that he's set and forget. And you know what? I would also say that, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would say that I think Taysom Hill, if you're in a Yahoo League, and you don't have a good tight end, he is bordering on... You got to start him just because of what he did last week. 30 points in a standard, or I think PPR league, but it doesn't really apply because he didn't even catch anything. He did all his damage through throwing. Or no, he did. He caught a touchdown. Never mind. We're starting Voldemort. We're shooting on him for the Saints. Can't believe I'm saying that. Let's look at the injury report. It looks like for this game, as far as the Saints are concerned, I don't see any. Let's look at all the injuries. Let's see. So I don't see Kamara on there, so I guess he's gonna play. So I don't really know if I want to shoot on him. And yeah, Taysom Hill, 21 rushes for 10.9 average, 5 touchdowns, 228 yards on the ground. Jameis Winston already has more interceptions than touchdowns, so I'm not really surprised about that. He's not a good quarterback. With that being said, we are going to be taking the under in this game, and we're taking Cincinnati. So we've taken 4 unders so far, and we're taking 5 unders, and we've only taken 1 over. Hopefully it gets more exciting. Because this is a good game. So we have I'm not shooting on, okay, of course we're shooting on Evan McPherson. We're going to shoot on the Bengals defense. We're not shooting on Will Lutz. We're not shooting on the Saints defense. Got everything covered. The Baltimore Ravens at the New York Giants. Now, this is an interesting game because one of these teams I feel like should be 4-1. And then we have the Giants at 4-1. So, a lot of interesting things here. Now, I do think that the Giants are going to lose. They should lose. They deserve to lose. But, whether they actually lose is a different story for a different day. It's a 45 over-under with the Ravens as 5.5-point favorites. So Vegas thinks that the Ravens will win. But you know what? I think that this will be an exciting game because the Ravens defense isn't very good. So I'm taking the over just for the sake of taking an over. Of course, we're taking Baltimore. So we're taking Baltimore in the over. Now, Mark Andrews is the best tight end in football right now. He reminds people why it's fun to have a tight end position in football, not a flex position, because he gives you a positional advantage. And while you do have to meticulously plan your draft strategy around that, because everything is balanced, everything is fair in fantasy football, and if you draft Mark Andrews with a second or third, even first round pick, you're letting something else fall that some other schmuck gets to have. They get to have that because they didn't pay up for a tight end. You did. You took that sacrifice, and you should not be punished for it by not having a positional advantage. So we're going to shoot on Mark Andrews, we're going to shoot on Lamar Jackson, and we're going to shoot on Justin Tucker. I can't really think of other options. I mean, the wide receivers are doing pretty good. You know, we have Rashad Bateman. We have, Duvernay. We have some guys. I'd feel comfortable shooting on either of those guys if a gun was to my balls and I had no better options. I have not looked in to starting either of those guys yet this season. And, I don't know. It's so streaky. Like Lamar Jackson, it's so streaky who he throws to. Like, because he'll throw to guys, like, for just touchdowns. So you'll have guys with, like, 3 receptions, 22 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, you'll have stats like that. It's like, that's just not, I don't want to build something off of that. For the Giants, Saquon Barkley. That's it. That's the only person you're starting. We're not starting either defense. The Giants do have a startable defense, but they're playing the Ravens, so I'm not starting them. I would pivot from that if you have the Giants defense. It's not hard to find someone. I believe the Bengals are still on waivers, and they actually have a pretty good matchup against the Saints. And I'm not starting the Giants kicker. So that's really it. Yeah. Wow, I'm making really good time with this. Good job, self. Okay. So we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tom Brady is going to have rough sex with the Steelers. He is going to enact his will upon them and let it be known that he is their daddy. I'm going to take the under on this game because I do not think that the Steelers will do much of anything on offense. And I think that the Buccaneers will dominate this game. If there's one player that you have to start in this game, I'm going to give kind of a hot take. And I'm going to say it's Leonard Fournette, because I think that game script is going to go his way this game. And I think that he will have a very good outing. I'm talking at least 20 points for fantasy. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I started him too. He's on my team. I'm taking that L with you. I'm shooting for the stars. We're starting Tom Brady. We're starting Mike Evans. We're starting Chris Godwin. We're starting Russell Gage in the flex, if he's healthy. If he plays. And that's about it. That is about it. Thank goodness Giovanni Bernard is injured. I hope it stays that way. Just kidding. Not really. So, as far as the Steelers are concerned, I do think that you still start Najee. I think that you pivot from him, you start him in your flex. Okay? He's not an RB2, he's a flex. You start him in the flex. Deontay Johnson, you can start him in the flex as well. He's got ball dropping issues, but he's a target monster. Whoever the guy is, I can't remember if it's Pickens or Pickett, because they have both of those guys on their team that are both rookies, so it's really fucking confusing. Whichever one of those guys made the Odell-like catch, I would not start him yet. He looks like he's averaging about one great, cool, highlight, deep target catch a game, which just isn't enough for fantasy. We're not starting Chase Claypool. We're not starting the other running back that looks like the second coming of James Conner. And we're not starting Freiermuth. We're not starting the Steelers defense or the Steelers kicker. We're starting the Buccaneers defense. And yes, you can start the Bucs kicker. That is all. Tampa Bay, under. Next game. Boom. The Carolina Panthers are playing a team much better than them with a real head coach. They're called the Los Angeles Rams. It's a 41.5 over-under with the Rams as a sexy, a sultry, a seductive 10-point favorite. Now, we are going to be taking the under. And you know what? We're taking the under in this game. We're taking the under. We're taking the Rams. If there's one guy in this game you have to start, it's Christian McCaffrey. No, okay? I'm not the fantasy footballers. I'm not going to jerk off Christian McCaffrey every chance I get on every show I ever do. Because I'm real. I'm real with y'all. The one guy you start is Cooper Kupp. Everyone knows that. Christian McCaffrey, you do start him, but he is no longer McCaff. He's not even a whole McCaff. He's just Mc. That's all he is until further notice. Until he gives me a 3-touchdown performance like he used to on the reg. Now, I am starting him. He's the only one on that team I'm starting. And for the Rams, the only other guy I might think about starting is probably Matthew Stafford if I'm down bad and I need to stream a quarterback. I'm starting the Rams defense. I'm starting the Rams kicker. And that's about it. Moving right along. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Brian. So I've done this with Brian so much that I swear sometimes I hear him say, what about so-and-so? And he just said, what about Higbeast? Well, that's a good point, Brian. I'm going to shoot on Higbeast. Thank you for that. Moving right along. The NFC West. The NFC has a couple good matchups, but this one, the NFC West game, we have the Battle of the Boyds. And you know I love the Battle of the Boyds. Man, it's my favorite motherfucking thing to say. The Battle of the Boyds. We have the Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks. Both teams are 2-3. One team has a quarterback nobody believes in, and the other team has a quarterback nobody believes actually watches game film. Now, while I do love Kyler Murray, I believe he's a extremely arrogant, entitled, and self-obsessed individual that thinks he can earn millions upon millions of dollars in the NFL playing backyard football, which is extremely disrespectful to other quarterbacks such as Geno Smith, who obviously work very hard and do things that you should do, like watch game film. I mean, fucking, if your team has to put a clause in your contract that you have to watch game film, you probably don't watch game film. I don't care that they took it out. It's a bad look for Kyler Murray. And speaking of bad looks, have you seen him throw the football? Have you seen him on the football field? It looks bad. It's a bad look because he doesn't watch game film. Now, speaking of people that don't watch game film, we are starting Kyler Murray in this game. We are starting Hollywood Brown. We're probably not starting any of the running backs because that situation seems just fucking fucked to all shit. And yeah, maybe you can start Zach Ertz if you're down bad, but I wouldn't know because I'm responsible. I invest in a good tight end. But, yeah, you can probably start Zach Ertz. Until D-Hop gets back, he's probably a safe start. I wouldn't really start anyone else in the Cardinals except for that. I mean, Matt Prater if you're down real bad, but I think he might even not be healthy. We're not starting the Cardinals defense, of course. And we're not starting the Seattle Seahawks defense. That's for damn sure. We're starting Geno Smith. You know, I can't believe I'm saying this, but if there was one player in this game who I think you should start, it's almost Geno Smith. It's not Geno Smith, but it's almost him. That one player is Hollywood Brown. But for the Seahawks, I think you should start Geno Smith. I can't believe I'm saying this. I think you should start DK. And I think you should start Lockett. And you know what? Start Kenneth Walker. See how it works out for you. You have the gut stamp of approval. 2 championships talking. You should start Kenneth Walker. We're not starting the Seahawks defense or the Seahawks kicker, of course. And we're not starting any of the tight ends. It is a 50.5 over under. And you know what? We are taking the Cardinals and we are taking the over because I think that the Seahawks defense is bad enough for someone that doesn't even watch a game script or game footage. He doesn't watch either of those things. He doesn't watch game script or game film. He could still get a win. All right, the most exciting matchup, my personal favorite matchup of the week. The Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a 54 over-under with the Bills as 2.5-point favorites. Ooh, tell us how you really feel, Vegas. We are going to take the Bills, and we are taking the over. Here's the new rule. When the Bills and the Chiefs play each other, you take the over. That rule will be reviewed until further notice. Now, I feel like it's kind of obvious who we're shooting on in this game. Gabriel Davis. Yeah, I started him last week. I'm smart. We're going to start Gabriel Davis. We're going to start Stephon Diggs. We're going to start Josh Allen, the QB1, RB1 of the team. We're going to start... Is Dawson Knox playing? Let's see. What do you guys think? Is he playing? Ooh. Looks like he's playing. Yeah, I'd start him. Josh Allen already has 225 yards in the ground, 2 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs already has 508 reception yards, 5 touchdowns. That means that Stephon Diggs is averaging 100 yards and 100 yards touchdown per game. That is fucking awesome. That is fucking awesome. Go Bills. We're starting Mahomes. We're starting Eclair. We're starting Kelsey. Hey, look, another tight end. We're starting Kelsey. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm not suggesting you start any of the Kansas City wide receivers, because they're too sporadic. You don't know who's it going to be. Juju is going to get a bunch of shitty target depth, but he's, maybe going to do little with it. Maybe he's going to do nothing with it. Motherfucking, what's his name? Fucking the gadget guy. His name's not important enough for me to remember. But no, not him. And then probably not MVS. If you're going to start one of them, I think it's MVS, because he looks like he has the most swag right now. Yeah, we're starting both kickers. We're not starting either defense. And yeah, that's it. Moving right along, the NFC East Toilet Bowl game. We have the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. One team that is 5-0 and another team that, despite everyone and their grandma in disbelief, is 4-1. I can't believe the Cowboys are 4-1. I thought only good teams were 4-1. This is going to be a 42 over-under with the Eagles as 6.5-point favorites. And you know what? I think this is going to be one of two things. It's going to be a very exciting game in which the Eagles barely win, or it's going to be a blowout in which the Eagles win. I do not foresee the Cowboys winning this game at all. I do not think that they have the balls to deal with all of Philadelphia's weapons on offense. I don't think that the Dallas Cowboys defense is that good, and I don't think their offense is good enough to get past the Eagles defense. So I'm going to root for something that's fun to watch, so I'm going to take the over, and I'm going to take the Eagles. There's one player in this game that you need to start. It's Justin Jalen, thank you, mind. Looking for it, found it. Justin, shoot the gap, Hurts. We're shooting on Jalen Hurts. We're shooting on A.J. Brown. We're shooting on Devonta Smith. We're shooting on Dallas Goedert. And you know what? In flex, we're shooting on Miles Sanders. Little flex cup for you, Sanders. Here you go. Little shot for you. It was the last, but you got some. As far as the Cowboys go, we're shooting on Tony Pollard. We're shooting on CeeDee Lamb. Oh, God, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we're shooting on Zeke and flex. And that's about it. We're not shooting on the Dallas Cowboys defense. I would shoot on the Eagles defense if you don't have a better option. If the Bengals aren't available, yeah, I'd shoot on the Eagles. And I'd shoot on the Eagles kicker. Whoa, not the Cowboys kicker, though. Taking the Eagles, taking the over. And finally, the last game of the week. Yes, they are on primetime yet once again. Not only did the NFL get the entire season's worth of Thursday night football games wrong, they also decided to give Russell Wilson primetime every fucking week of the season. So here we fucking go. AFC West. The Denver Broncos at the Los Angeles Chargers. Oh boy, man. This game, I have to take a hit before I talk about this game. It's that bad. And it's Denver, so, it's legal. I made the noise that Brian makes when he's on this show. That's his cool. I like it. I think it's good. It's good for flow. And speaking of flow, the Broncos have anything but. If you're starting Russell Wilson, man, you got balls. Man, you got balls. You got balls like me because I'm starting him. Because I believe that Russell Wilson is going to do good this week. Hear me out. If you started Russell Wilson in fantasy, he's fucked you over. He's fucked you over so hard. It's clear that he hates you. And he wants you to do bad. So, what do you think he's going to do when he's on your bench? He's going to go off. So, I'm actually starting him. I'm trying to see if reverse psychology works on this one. I'd start Cortland Sutton, and you know what? I'd start Jerry Jeudy. Those are the 3 guys for the Broncos and McManus. I'd start those 4 guys. I'm not starting the Broncos defense. As far as the Chargers are concerned, if I have Justin Herbert, I'm probably going to start him. I would start Mike Williams. I would start Austin Eckler. And I might even start Everett if I'm down bad that much. I really hope I'm not down bad that much, but I will if I have to. I will if I have to. I really don't want to, but I will if I have to. Now, that's really all I'm going to start. I'm not going to start the Chargers kicker. They haven't had a good kicker since I was born, and I'm not going to start the Chargers defense because they are all injured. Every starter for the Chargers defense is injured. Not really, but it feels like that because they were supposed to be fucking awesome, and then I drafted their defense and they're dog shit. So, yeah. Not starting the Chargers kicker either. And you know what? I'm going to take the over because I want a good Monday Night Football game for once in my damn life. This year at least. And you know what? I'm taking the Broncos. Because you know why? Balls. That's why. Balls. And that about does it. Those are all the games for this week. And I think that pretty much sums up pretty well who you should start, who you should not start. And, if I missed anybody and they go off, feel free to like and subscribe to the channel so you can comment on every single video we do why that was a bad decision and why I should have talked about them. And then, maybe I'll talk about them. Maybe I'll keep ignoring them forever. And, you'll have to subscribe to find out. I want to thank everyone for listening. This was a little bit of a compressed episode. And, Brian, if you're still listening, I love you. And I say all these tight end jokes with jest, but you also know I'm serious. And I think I have a good reason to support my cause. Now, if you're still listening to the show, we love you. You are family. And I want to thank you for that. Shout out to you. You're the real MVP. I know we have some listeners of the show. I know Matt, the guy in the drummer, I believe, for Brian's band, listens. I know that Emo the Doc Marshall listens. Shout out to Emo. I know that Alec, my boy, Bonsall, the Mud Boy, he listens in. Shout out to Alec. And I know that Charlie, who runs Drive Time Sports with Brian, listens in. So shout out to you, Charlie. Probably one of the youngest listeners on our show. And I hope that you keep listening. I really do. And that's about it. Now, fantasy parting shots. Brian gets mad when I say this, but Brian's not here, so I'm having fun. Stay water. Be water. All right? Because if you really do want to win fantasy football, you got to be like Bruce Lee. You got to watch Enter the Dragon, and you got to be water. Remember, guys, in fantasy football, as in life, don't dream it, be it.